Alright, hello, and welcome to It Moves, a game that is made by RPG Maker. It is, it's a scary game, and I'm gonna play it, because I feel like it. Amit's not here. I don't know why, I just wanted to do something different for our channel. Sometimes I just like to do different things occasionally. Let me just adjust the volume. So you may have wondered why I did like a creepypasta thing. I did that because I wanted to do something different and hear something different. This is the first episode of whatever series I'm gonna call this. Something to do with scary, terror, whatever. I don't know. This is pretty unscripted. I'm just kind of rambling. But yeah, so here we go. First episode. Okay, here we go. Bedtime is supposed to be a happy event for a tired child. For me, it's terrifying. While some children might complain about being put to bed before they have finished watching a film or playing a favorite video game, when I was a child, nighttime was something to truly fear. Somewhere in the back of my mind, it still is. Oh, well, this is me. Poster from a movie. Got it from my brother. I cannot prove that what happened to me was objectively real, but I can swear that what I experienced was genuine horror. A fear which in my life, I'm glad to say, has never been equaled. I will never relate to you all now as best as I can. Fuck. I'm really bad at reading on the spot. Okay. I'll relate it to you all now as best I can. Make of it what you will. But I'll be glad to just get it off my goddamn chest. This is my father. Don't go pulling out too much stuff now. It's bedtime soon. This is my brother's room. He told me yesterday to keep out of the room that we both shared until then. Can't remember exactly when it started, but my apprehension towards falling asleep seems to correspond with my being moved into a room of my own. This is my mother. How do you like your new room? Soon you'll be sleeping alone for the first time. Mom told me not to touch her stuff, especially this stuff. Just a bunch of old clothes in here. I was 8 years old at the time, and until then I had shared a room quite happily with my older brother. As is perfectly understandable for a boy 5 years my senior. Okay. As is perfectly understandable for a boy 5 years. My senior... Okay. What is going on with this paragraph? As is perfectly understandable for a boy 5 years my senior. My brother eventually wished for a room of his own, and as a result, I was given the room at the back of the house. As my brother was given a new bed, I was given the bunk beds, which we used to share. While I was upset about sleeping on my own, I was excited at the thought of being able to sleep in the top bunk, which seemed far more adventurous to me. It's locked, stupid bro. Alright, it's bedtime. Already? Yes, adults need their sleep, you see. Okay, I need to figure this out before I start fucking reading, alright. Yes, adults need their sleep, you see. You'll be sleeping alone for the first time. You excited? Yes, Mom. Alright, and turn off the lights. Good night. Good night. Chapter 1. The Cave. What is this? Pot and some ragged cloth. I wonder what's cooking. Stalking is such a strong word. I prefer to think of it as more intense research on one individual. By the way, your missing sock is under your bed. With me. Just kidding. A cold, welcoming breeze comes from the bottom of the stairs. Fuck. Oh my god. Apologize for this. This might take a while. Come on. Bastard. Did it. I don't like that noise. The monster thing that stalks you. I'm coming for you. Oh my god. Okay. Get the fuck out, baby spider. Get away! No! I died. Burger boy. Mom! I had a bad dream. Mom! Mom, I had a bad dream. Sweetie, what's wrong? I had a bad dream. Oh, that's too bad, sweetie. I'll be up in a minute and we can eat breakfast together. Alright, hurry up. Now, go change your clothes and I'll be right there. And so, another day started. It was a day of little importance to our story. I won't bother with the details. The one thing I remember is that even though I played with friends like I always did, I somehow still felt lonely. I didn't enter my new room until later that night. It was time to go to sleep again. Sleepy time. Chapter 2. The Labyrinth. Yes. Hmm. Fuck. It's one of these puzzles. Motherfucker! I don't like that noise. Something chasing me? I really hope not. Wanted poster. And who are you? Oh god. Don't like that face. Seriously not liking that face. Does that mean the monster's getting closer to me? I hope not. I'm not a huge fan of this. Oh god, what is that? Doug! As long as I stay in the face, they can't get me. No! Seriously! That's not cool. There you are, you little fuck. We gon' find you, we gon' find you. You can run and tell that, run and tell that, run and tell that. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Some kind of machinery. There you are, you little fuck. How many times do I have to find you? Oh god, what the fuck's that? Oh god! Can they even touch me? I hope they can't. Oh god. This isn't cool. This isn't cool. No! There you are. What now? Can this face please go away? I really don't like this face. Please, face, go away. I do not like you. Seriously, what is with that thing that's just like walking around? Whatever it is, I don't like it. Look at it. If I see it, it goes away, I think. So. Okay, I'm getting lost here. Where do I go? Can I run? That would make things better. So you can run and tell that, run and tell that, run and tell that, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Go away. You weird thing. It just looks like Jeff the Killer's face, honestly. So there he is, you little fuck! No! When you awake from a deep sleep to do something moving or stirring, it can take a few moments for you to truly understand what is happening. The fog of sleep hangs over your eyes and ears, and even when lucid, something was moving there. There was no doubt about that. At first I wasn't sure what it was. Everything was dark, almost pitch black, but there was enough light creeping in from outside to outline the room. Two thoughts appeared in my head, almost simultaneously. First was that my parents were in bed because the rest of the house lay both in darkness and silence. The second thought turned to the noise, a noise which had obviously woken me. What was it? Bed sheets rustling in the dark? And someone breathing? As if some disturbed sleeper was attempting to get all too comfortable in the bottom bunk. I lay there in disbelief, thinking that the noise was either my imagination, or perhaps just my pet cat finding somewhere comfortable to spend the night. It was then that I noticed my door, shut as it had been as I'd fallen asleep. Perhaps my mum had checked in on me and the cat had sneaked into the room then. Yes, that must have been it. I turned and faced the wall, closing my eyes in the vain hope that I could fall back to sleep. As I moved, the rustling noise from underneath ceased. I thought that I must have disturbed my cat, but quickly I realized the visitor in the bottom bunk was much less mundane than my pet trying to sleep. Much more sinister. As if alerted to and disgruntled by my presence, the disturbed sleeper began to toss and turn violently, like a child having a tantrum in their bed. I could hear the sheets twist and turn with increasing ferocity. Fear then gripped me, not like a subtle sense of unease I had experienced earlier, but now, potent and terrifying. My heart raced as my eyes panicked. Scanning the almost impenetrable darkness, I let out a cry. As most young boys do, I instinctively shouted on my mother. I could hear something stir on the other side of the house. As I began to breathe a sigh of relief that my parents were coming to save me, the bunk bed suddenly started to shake violently as if gripped by an earthquake, scraping against the wall. I could hear the sheets below me thrashing around, as if tormented by malice. I did not want to jump down to safety, as I feared the thing in the bottom bunk would reach out and grab me, pulling me into the darkness. So I stayed there, white knuckles clenching my own blankets like a shroud of protection. The wait seemed like an eternity. What's wrong? Did you have a bad dream? I cried, and my mother consoled me. Tears of fear followed by relief streamed down my face. Yet, through all of the horror and relief, I did not tell her why I was so upset. I cannot explain it, but it was as though whatever had been in that bunk would return, even if so much as I spoke of it. Even if I so much as spoke of it. Whether that was the truth, I do not know. But as a child, I felt as if that unseen menace remained close and listening. My mother lay in the empty bunk, promising to stay there until morning. I remember the next day wanting to go anywhere, be anywhere, but in that suffocating room. It was Saturday, and I played outside, quite happily with my friends. Although our house was not large, we were lucky to have a long sloping garden in the back. We played there often, as much of it was overgrown, and we could hide in the bushes. Climb in a huge sycamore tree which towered above all else, and easily imagine ourselves in the throes of a grand adventure. As fun as it all was, occasionally my eye would turn to the small window in my room, ordinary, slight, and inchoate. But for me, that thin boundary was a looking glass into a strange, cold pocket of dread. Outside, the lush green surroundings of my garden filled with the smiling faces of my friends. Inside, the feeling of something in that room, watching me play, waiting for the night, when I could be alone, eagerly filled with hate. Now, it may sound strange to you, but by the time my parents ushered me back into that room for the night, I said nothing. I didn't protest. I didn't even make an excuse as to why I couldn't sleep there. I still felt as if the thing would be enraged if I so much as spoke of it. Another night came. Chapter 3. fractalized. Yeah. Well, that is something. Okay. It's one of these hallways, isn't it? A huge skull. Well, yep, that's what that is. Okay. It's too old and torn to make other details. No, it's not. It's open. Hello, it's open. Okay. Oh no, the eyes are on. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6. Okay, well the room changed, so there's gotta be something. 666. This kid's got some fucked up nightmares. Oh god, no. Okay. Guess I'm in the fucking, like, evil factory of Silent Hill. Picture of some kind of green landscape. The picture is in too bad shape to make out any details. Oh god, yeah. Okay. Let's find a way out of this fucking nightmare hellhole. Get the fuck out of here, man! The bloodstains on the carpet. What is this? Yes. Tis some kind of altar. Ugh, what is this? Some kind of machine? Why did it make a gross noise? Okay. Turn something on, I guess. God, I wish it was a run button. God, all the levers are fucking blocked by chains. Okay, so I pulled this lever. The lever's pulled. So there's got to be more, right? I saw 2 up there, but they were blocked off. So just maybe one up here is free now. No, it's still blocked off, that one. Well, that was a face. No, that one's blocked. Looks like this one's free now. Yeah. Creepy mask. Well, yep. What has happened? What is happening? Well, that is a creepy mask, if I do say so myself. Hello? Can I get away from you? I don't like you. You're giving me a weird vibe, bruh. Okay. Alright. Well, that was eventful. Hope none of that happens again. And this one's open now. Cool. Well, now there's shit pouring out the fucking... Okay, I think there's like 1 or 2 more down below. Down here. This one's open now. Looks like. That's gross. And I guess I killed it. Good. This one's still fucking closed, eh? That creepy mask guy is still there. Means there's gotta be another fucking lever around here somewhere. I didn't check the bottom corner. Okay, there's the mask one. The shit one is up here. The one that I first got is in the middle there. Right by the machine. So... they have to be on this side then. Got the one up here. Did I get the one in this top left corner? No, I didn't. Okay, so the last one should be the creepy guy. Wait, did this one not go? No, it went. So now he's gone. Should be the last one. I gotta go back to the pentagram. Oh shit. Ah! It's funny how certain words can remain hidden from your mind, no matter how blatant or obvious they are. No word came to me that night, lying there in the darkness alone, frightened, aware of a rotten change in the atmosphere. A thickening of the air, as if something had displaced it. As I heard the first casual twist of the bed sheets below, the first anxious increase of my heartbeat at the realization that something was once again in the bottom bunk. That word, a word which had been sent into exile, filtered up through my consciousness, breaking free of all repression, gasping for air, screaming, etching, and carving itself into my mind. Ghost. As this thought came to me, I noticed that my unwelcome visitor had ceased moving. The bedsheets lay calm and dormant, but they had been replaced by something far more hideous. A slow, rhythmic, rasping breath heaved and escaped from the thing below. I could imagine its chest rising and falling with each sordid, wheezing, and garbled breath. I shuddered and hoped beyond all hope that it would leave without occurrence. The house lay as it had the previous night, in a thick blanket of darkness. Silence prevailed, all but for the perverted breath of my as yet unseen bunkmate. I lay there, terrified. I just wanted this thing to go, to leave me alone. What did it want? And something unmistakably chilling transpired. It moved. It moved in a way different from before. When it threw itself around in the bottom bunk, it seemed unrestrained, without purpose, almost animalistic. For that thing lying there in the darkness, that thing which seemed intent on terrorizing a young boy, calmly and not gently sat up. Its labored breathing had become louder. Now only a mattress and a few flimsy wooden slats separated my body from the unearthly breath below. I lay there, my eyes filled with tears. A fear which mere words cannot relate to you or anyone else coursed through my veins. I wouldn't have not believed that this fear could have been heightened, but I was so wrong. I imagined what the thing would look like, sitting there, listening from below my mattress, hoping to catch the slightest hint that I was awake. Imagination then turned into an unnerving reality. It began to touch the wooden slats my mattress sat on. It seemed to caress them carefully, running what I imagined to be fingers and hands across the surface of the wood. Then with great force it prodded angrily between the two slats into the mattress. Even through the padding, it felt as though someone had viciously stuck their fingers into my side. I let out an almighty cry, and the wheezing and shaking and moving thing in the bunk below replied in kind by violently vibrating the bunk as it had done the night previously before. Small flanks of paint powdered into my blanket from the wall as the frame of the bed scraped along it, backwards and forwards. Once again I was bathed in light, and there stood my mother, loving, caring as she always was, with a comforting hug and calming words, which eventually subdued my hysteria. Of course she asked what was wrong, but I could not say. I dared not to say. I simply said one word over and over and over again. Nightmare. This pattern of events continued for weeks, if not months. Night after night, I would awaken to the sound of rustling sheets. Each time, I would scream so as not to provide this abomination with the time to prod and feel for me. With each cry, the bed would shake violently, stopping with the arrival of my mother, who would spend the rest of the night in the bottom bunk, seemingly unaware of the sinister force torturing her son nightly. Along the way, I imagined to feign illness a few times and come up with other, less than truthful reasons for sleeping in my parents' bed. But for more often than not, I would be alone for the first few hours of each night in that place. The room where the light from outside did not sit right, along with that thing. With time, you can become desensitized to almost anything, no matter how horrific. I had come to realize that, for whatever reason, this thing could not harm me when my mother was present. I am sure the same would have been said for my father, but as loving as he was, waking him from sleep was almost impossible. Waking me, on the other hand, was no trouble at all, thanks to the nightmares. Earthquake? Painted glass depicts a scene from the Bible. That is a spider. Another one? Whoa. It's a big pool, but I'd rather not use it. No shit! There's a dead cat on the ground. No! Hanging cats. Oh shit. Now I'm trapped in here. I hope the bagman doesn't come and get me. Oh no! I got eated. I got eated. Okay. Babies. That close their mouths when I walk by them. I don't like the babies. Especially that last one, he's creepy. Is there a puzzle here? Is there a puzzle here? Okay, now they're all closed. So maybe not. Maybe there isn't a puzzle here. Okay, the music's getting a bit creepy. I don't like that baby noise. Not the baby noises. Please, no. No more baby noises. Please, no more baby noises. I do not like the baby noises. No! I said no! Did I not say no? I said no! Babies! No, God! Okay. I do not like you, babies. Stop! No! No! No, babies, please. Stop it. Oh, shit. My greatest fears were realized in the winter. The days grew short, and the longer nights merely provided this wretch with more opportunities. It was a difficult time for my family. My grandmother, a wonderfully kind and gentle woman, had deteriorated greatly since the death of my grandfather. My mother was trying her best to keep her in the community as long as possible. However, dementia is a cruel and degenerative illness, robbing a person of their memories one day at a time. She soon she recognized none of us, and it had become clear that she would need to be moved from her house to a nursing home. Before she could be moved, my grandmother had a particularly difficult few nights, and my mother decided she would stay with her. As much as I loved my grandmother and felt nothing but anguish at her illness, to this day I feel guilty that my first thoughts were not of her, but of what my nightly visitor may do should I become aware of my mother's absence. Her presence being the one thing which I was sure was protecting me from the full horror of the thing's reach. I rushed home from school that day and immediately wrenched the bed sheets and mattress from the lower bunk, removing all the slats and placing an old desk and chest of drawers, and some chairs which we kept in the cupboard where the bottom bunk used to be. I told my father I was making an office, which he found adorable, but I would be damned if I'd give that thing a place to sleep for one more night. As darkness approached, I lay there knowing my mother was not in the house. I did not know what to do. My only impulse was to sneak into her jewelry box and take a small family crucifix which I had seen there before. While my family were not very religious, at that age I still believed in God and hoped that somehow this would protect me. Although fearful and anxious, while gripping the crucifix under my pillow tightly in one hand, sleeping eventually came, and as I drifted off to the dream. Drifted off the dream. I hoped that I would awaken in the morning without incident. Fortunately, that night was the most terrifying of all. The feeling that something is invading your privacy, even without ill will, is still disturbing. Wow! That's a gross monster. Oh no, it's gross monster. Let me follow. Go into the hole. Oh no, he's gross monster. Let me follow you. Let me follow you, gross monster. Hello? Where'd you go? Who's groaning? Get up off that thing. Jack the baby. What is this? What are you? Okay. Let me go on the altar. Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. Oh, no. What is happening? Why are the monsters chanting? What are they going to do to me? Oh no, they're eating me. No. You're awfully quiet nowadays. Is there something wrong, son? Nothing. Are you sure? Is there something wrong with your new room? Are you lonely without your brother? No. Alright then. I woke gradually. The room was once again dark. As my eyes adjusted, I could gradually make out the windows and the door and the walls, some toys on the shelf. And even to this day, I shudder to think of it. For there was no noise, no rustling of sheets, no movement at all. The room felt lifeless. Lifeless, yet not empty. The nightly visitor, that unwelcome, wheezing, hate-filled thing, which had terrorized me night after night, was not in the bottom bunk. It was in my bed. I opened my mouth to scream, but nothing came out. Utter terror had shaken the very sound from my voice. I lay there motionless. If I could not scream, I did not want to let it know I was awake. I had not yet seen it. I could only feel it. It was obscured on my blanket. I could see the outline, and I could feel its presence, but I dared not look. The weight of it pressed down on top of me, a sensation I will never forget. When I say that hours passed, I did not exaggerate, lying there motionless in the darkness. I was every bit scared and frightened. I was every bit a scared and frightened young boy. If I had been during the summer months, it would have been light by then. But the grasp of winter is long and unrelenting, and I knew it would be hours before sunrise. A sunrise which I yearned for. I was a timid child by nature, but I reached a breaking point. A moment where I could not wait no more, where I could survive under this intimately deviant abomination no longer. Fear can sometimes wear you out, make you threadbare, a shell of nerves leaving only the slightest trace of you behind. I had to get out of that bed. Then I remembered the crucifix. My hand still lay underneath the pillow, but it was empty. I slowly moved my wrist around to find it, minimizing as best I could the sound and vibrations caused, but I could not be found. I had either knocked it off the top bunk, or it had. I could not bear to think of it. Had it been taken from my hand? Without the crucifix, I lost any sense of hope. Even at such a young age, you can be acutely aware of what death is and intensely frightened of it. I knew I was going to die in that bed if I lay there, dormant, passive, doing nothing. I had to leave that room behind, but how? Should I leave from the bed and hope that I make it to the door? What if it was faster than me? Or should I slowly slip out of the top bunk, hoping not to disturb my uncanny bedfellow? Realized that it had not stirred when I moved, trying to find the crucifix. Realizing that it had not stirred when I moved, trying to find the crucifix, I began the strangest of thoughts. Go to bed? Really? Okay. How many chapters are in this? Do you do when you're underwater? What do you do with the Klondike bar? Oh, there better not be some creepy thing underwater. I hate underwater things. Is that a dead dad? That looks like a dead dad. Yes. The abyss. Oh, yeah. Oh shit. Is that the dad? But you were dead before. What the fuck? Okay. One of the biggest fears is deep water. Ironic when you consider the fact that I'm now working on in a mining station thousands of feet underwater in the Marianas Trench. I've always wondered why I was afraid and reach a simple conclusion. The true fear presented here is actually going down beneath the surface, into the depths. It's a combination of all our most common fears. 1. Fear of the dark. When you're in the bottom of a body of water, you can't see anything. It's pitch black. Have you ever tried to swim as far down in the lake as you can? It gets really dark and cold really fast, about 10 feet down. But even that's not compared to the deepest point of the entire crust of the Earth, located at the bottom of the Pacific Ocean. The Marianas Trench, which is 38,000 feet deep. If you put Mount Everest at the bottom of the trench, the top of the mountain would still be over a mile below the surface of the ocean. Everything below you is complete darkness, and this definitely plays a part in the collective fear of the dark. Fear 2. Fear of suffocation. Have you ever gotten to the point where you swam down too far in the swimming pool and you seriously considered the fact that you might not make it back to the top before you ran out of breath? Have you ever been through rough housing as a kid with the blankets and pillows, and you accidentally got pinned down inside the sleeping bag or something, and you got to that point where your laughter temporarily turns into screaming? You know what a scary concept not being able to breathe is. Even if you have a scuba gear, when you're down that deep, even if you have scuba gear with you down in the deep, dark abyss, there's a chance a valve could pop out and you could run out of oxygen. You can't see. You can't really take a deep breath. Could it get worse? Yes. Fear of the unknown. There are over 1 million species of creatures in the ocean, and scientists estimate there are an additional 9 million species yet to be discovered. That means we only even know what 11% of the Alright. Scientists estimate there's an additional 9 million species yet to be discovered. That means we only even know what 11% of the creatures in the ocean are. Most things being in the ocean are things mankind has ever seen or heard of. Who knows what could be down there? Think about a time when you were walking down in a dimly lit basement, trying to find something. All of a sudden, something brushes up against the back of your neck. You become airborne, similar to a frightened cat, and instantly turn around and shine their flashlight to see what it was. It's never anything actually scary. But in the deep water, it's always something scary. It's dark, you can barely breathe, and something just touched you, and you have no idea where they just went. But there's more to fear, I'm afraid. Fear of flying insects, fear of being caught. Alright, let's just end this off. There are lots of places I wouldn't want to be, such as trapped in the burning house or alone in a vacuum of space. But in the burning house, at least I can see. And in space, at least there aren't any creatures that could get me. There are no other places in the universe that combine as many common fears as 7 miles below the surface of the Pacific Ocean. It is because of that combination of all these fears that I am so horrified of deep water. That's a big anglerfish. It's the Sarlacc pit! No! No! Oh god! Jesus. That scared the shit out of me. God, I hate sea creatures. That book pretty much describes everything. The whole reason I'm afraid of deep sea. What if it was asleep? I hadn't so much as breathed since I had woken up. Perhaps it was resisting. Perhaps it was resting, believing that I had finally got me. That it was finally in its grasp. Or perhaps it was toying with me, after all. After all, it had been doing just that for countless nights. And now, with me under it, pinned against my mattress with no mother to protect me, maybe it was holding off. savoring its victory until the last possible moment, like a wild animal savoring its prey. I tried to breathe as shallowly as possible, and mustering every ounce of courage I could. I reached over slowly with my right hand and began to peel the blanket off me. What I found under those covers almost stopped my heart. I did not see it, but as my hand moved the blanket, it brushed against something. Something smooth and cold. Something which left an unmistakably gaunt hand. I held my breath in terror, as I was sure it must now have known that I was awake. Nothing. I did not stir. It did not stir. It felt dead. After a few moments, I placed my hand carefully further down the blanket and felt a thin, poorly formed forearm. My confidence and almost twisted sense of curiosity grew as I moved down further into a disproportionately larger bicep muscle. The arm was outstretched, lying across my chest, with the hand resting on my left shoulder as if it had grabbed me in my sleep. I realized that it would have to move this cadaverous appendage if I even so much hoped to escape its grasp. For some reason, the feeling of torn, ragged clothing on the shoulder of this nighttime invader stopped me in my tracks. Fear had once again swelled in my stomach and in my chest as I recoiled my hand in disgust at the touch of scraggled, oily hair. I could not bring myself to touch its face, although I wonder to this very day what it would have felt like. Dear God, it moved. Ew. Go in the butthole. With the eyeball sperms.
And the last enemy that shall be destroyed is death.
Ew. This is very... what's the word? This is very Lovecraftian. This whole setting right now. Ew. Okay. What do you want from me? What do you want from me? Okay. Hello there. I don't want you to play music. Stop. Stop playing music. Stop playing music, please. Look! Please stop playing music. Stop! You fuck. stop it. It moved. It was so subtle, but its grip on my shoulder and across my body strengthened. No tears came, but God, I wanted to cry. As its hand and arm slowly coiled around me, my left leg brushed along the cool wall which the bed lay against. Of all that happened to me in that room, this was the strangest. That's creepy. I realized that this clutching, rancid thing which drew delight from violating a young boy's bed was not entirely on top of me. It was sticking out from the wall like a spider, striking from its lair. Suddenly, its grip moved from a slow tightening to a sudden squeeze. It pulled and crawled at my clothes as if frightened that the opportunity would soon pass. I fought against it, but its emaciated arm was too strong for me. Its head rose up, writhing and contorting under the blanket. I now realized where it was taking me. Into the wall. I fought for my dear life. I cried, and suddenly my voice returned to me, yelling, screaming, but no one came. Then I realized why I was so eager to suddenly strike, why this thing had to have me now. Through my window, that window which seemed to represent so much malice from outside, streaked hope. The first rays of sunshine. I struggled further, knowing that if I could just hold on, it would soon be gone. As I fought for my life, the unearthly parasite shifted, slowly pulling itself up my chest. Its head slowly poked out from under the blankets, wheezing, coughing, rasping. I do not remember its features. I simply remember its breath against my face, foul and as cold as ice. As the sun broke over the horizon, that dark place, that suffocating room of contempt, was washed, bathed in sunlight. I passed out as its scrawny fingers encircled my neck, squeezing the very life from me. I woke to my father's offering to make me some breakfast, a wonderful sight indeed. I had survived the most horrible experience of my life until then, and now. I moved the bed away from the wall, leaving behind the furniture I had believed would stop the thing from taking the bed. Little did I think that it would try to take mine and me. Weeks passed without incident, yet on one cold, frostbitten night I awoke to the sound of the furniture where the bunk bed used to be vibrating violently. I lay there. Sure, I could hear a distant wheezing coming from the deep within the wall. I lay there. Sure, I could hear a distant wheezing coming from the deep within the wall, finally fading into the distance. The following year, I was given a larger room on the other side of the house, and my parents took that room as their bedroom. They said they didn't see a large room, just one big enough for a bed and a few things. They lasted 10 days. We moved on the 11th. Well, that was quite interesting. I thought it was a pretty good game. Yeah, it definitely gave me a few chills here and there. The story was told very creepypasta-ish, and I really like it that way. So I'm wondering if this is an actual creepypasta that someone made into a game, or if not, okay. Based on the story Bedtime by Michael Whitehouse. Okay, I'm gonna have to look that up. But yeah, definitely a good game. I suggest you try it out. You've seen the whole game now, so you probably don't need to check it out. I think I beat it within like 45 minutes, so pretty short game. Uh, I will be reading creepypastas eventually. That was kind of hard to read though, just because I like to edit my creepypasta readings just because it's easier because I fuck up reading a lot. So now you can see why I edit them. I also don't really what's the word? I need to learn how to read better just because I'm only just starting out, right? So things can go a bit better if I really wanted to try doing creepypasta for like our channel. But yeah, so this was just like a little taste of what not taste. This is just like a thing I just wanted to do just so you guys could have something else to watch that's, a bit creepy. But yeah, so that was It Moves. Hope you enjoyed it, and good day.